The Nature of Predators, Book 2, Chapter 99. Memory Transcription Subject, Adam Meyer, Terran Citizen. Late Standardized Human Time, September 3rd, 2165. Running was a tireless process to me, though I kept my body keeled towards the ground and clapped my hands together. This was what a predator species with a fully honed chase instinct looked like. Little claws tore through the grassy yard, leaving on to sink tiny teeth into my hand. That might trigger pain for most humans, but the mental skeleton could take it. I laughed as Launa held on tightly to my knuckles. What an adorable, precious angel she was. I hoisted my hand slightly, lifting her off the ground and spinning her around. Launa flailed her head about emphatically in an attempt to pull me back to the ground. I allowed myself to be felled, careful to roll onto my back. The Jaslip, with brown eyes the size of moons, walked across my chest, licking my cheek with affection. Life was good. I smiled and tickled her ears, enjoying the sight of the little boots I had gotten her to wear. She had grown up so quickly that I stabbed at my heart to be sending her away. Was this the hardest part of any parent's existence?
I love it when you play, Daddy. Even though your metal skeleton hurts my teeth sometimes,
she yipped, wagged her tail.
The dentist complains. I don't like the dentist. Why don't you ever have to go to him?
I knitted my brows together. I've explained that I was someone else's memories put into a computer body. I required different kinds of maintenance. You don't need teeth if you don't need to eat, Laura. You don't want to not have food, do you? How would you bite me if your teeth fall out? The dentist is better than that. The Jaslip pouted, ears sinking down and tail drooping between her legs.
Okay, I guess you're right.
Sorry, darling. Sometimes we have to do things we don't like, so we can enjoy the things we do. You might not have fun with every subject in school, but they're all going to pack your brain full of knowledge, so that you can be smart and do anything when you grow up. Do you remember what I taught you?
Don't bite any people at school. It hurts humans without metal skeletons.
Good girl. Here, take your lunch. I placed the lunchbox into her tail wagon, which included 2 cans of tuna and a few hard-boiled eggs. I checked one more time that all her books were there, as the school bus pulled up my driveway. All right, run along to catch the bus. You're going to do great, and I'm a phone call away if you need anything.
I'm excited. Bye, Daddy. I love you.
Love you too, Launa. I pulled out my holopad to record her going onto the school bus for the first time, skipping with excitement to join the other kids. The Jaslip child glanced back over her shoulder at me, and I waved at her for encouragement. I paused the video once she disappeared into the vehicle and watched in a bit of a sad silence as my daughter was driven away from our home. My hands found their way into my pockets, leaving me to stare at the horizon. I missed her already. What would I do to busy myself when she was gone? Mind if I join you, old friend? A voice asked from behind me. Huh! I swiveled around, finding myself looking at a hobbled-over, aged errant camper, clutching onto a cane. I'm sorry, I don't go by your lies anymore.
I know. You're him to me, and always will be. But I respect that you don't believe you're him, Adam.
Thank you. I'd love to catch up. What's got you in Austria? Not counting cacti in Arizona.
I wanted to check in on a friend who I've missed dearly, had admired so much. I wanted to see how the years are treating you, being Secretary General. It aged me far faster than I'd liked. You still look the way you did 3 decades ago. You don't know how funny that feels to an old woman.
I led Kindford back to my porch slowly, helping her with the stairs. I look different on the inside. To some people, they would say that's what matters.
That's where you're wrong. What's on the inside is a lot more important than how it looks. And speaking of wrong, do you know where you showed me I was wrong?
I arched an eyebrow. The ship of Theseus, I hope.
No, she chuckled. I said that there was never an option to be moral and just in the Sapien Coalition, but that wasn't true. The option was you, Elias, or at least his soul, was the only one who could be true to his beliefs no matter what.
No, I don't agree that I was the only one capable of that. Secretary General Osmani has done an excellent job avoiding the pitfalls his predecessors ran into after the Federation's collapse. His reserve dignity has shown that he's perfect for the job. I don't miss that life one bit.
You truly don't want to go back, do you? Even you tire of the burden.
It wasn't that. I loved helping humanity, but I wanted to see what it was like to take care of just one person, to have that be the entire world that I looked out for.
Erin Keinfer rocked back into the chair, binocular eyes growing misty as she stared at the horizon. I still remembered the young, snappy scientist who was trying to spoon-feed Elias information, and thought that he was just an old politician that could bungle up first contact. She'd been there throughout the most stressful months of his life, on the front lines of first contact. It was difficult to see her growing old, though I figured that I would have to get used to outliving people I cared about. I had no context of what it felt like to have your body begin to break down. That's the worst part of loving anything, if you choose to believe that a digital reincarnation doesn't bring them back. What if I just blink and Launa's life is gone? How will I know when I've existed too long? When I know even now that there is pain in my future? "Erin," I croaked, "I'm afraid." My old friend continued staring at the horizon with clouded, weary eyes. "Of losing everything I love, forgetting them. What happens when you're gone?" "Oh goodness, this is only the beginning. I intend to join you in immortality. I signed a consent slip to be digitally resurrected, and I believe it's me. Is that enough for you? Can you respect that, just as I respect that you see yourself as Adam?" "I'll accept that it's part of you. I hope you'll come find me. We can tell Launa and her human friends, who can't imagine what it's like, how the world was when we didn't know about aliens. Earth before we met the Vendel. Earth before it was a predator world." "Earth was always a predator world, Maya. It'll eat you out and spit you out if you're not strong enough." "That's living. That's every world under every sun. It was never about predators or their nature. It was about the beliefs people have, and use as a pretext to insist that others carry on their hatred. That's what I pushed the SC to finally see." Erin swallowed, choking up with emotion. "I know. Your speech opened their eyes, and you dared to call them out when no one else would. For all the works they put on your statue, that's the best thing that you've ever done." "No. The best thing I ever did was adopt an Osa." A lengthy future was stretched out before me, but in this moment there was peace in the love of a father. I would sit here and reminisce about a life that was not my own, and what the future might hold in store for the Sapient Coalition. Overall, I saw a multitude of reasons to be optimistic. Esqua had several regions restored for Jaslips to live on, and they even welcomed in consortium refugees to reside on orbital rings. Lana would have a home world to visit, and I hoped to take her when she got old. We'd enhanced our own capabilities after studying the Krev architecture, with orbital rings now encircling many SC worlds, including Earth, Skalka, and Lian. We needed somewhere to house revived synthetic beings, given the swelling populations. In the Vendels' case, they could use little extra space to expand, given they only had a small strip of habitable land on their tidally locked world of death. Alpha was in a rebuilding process too, with Kolshian refugees flocking to human colonies as full SC citizens. Many SHIELD members had assimilated into the Sapient Coalition, cutting ties with the remnant states that were under a rehabilitation program. The treachery of intending to wipe out any species that ever ate meat and concealing their true backers all the way was a bridge too far. Despite the neutrality, they split from the Federation in the first place because they abhorred the conspiracy. Dual membership made it easier to join us, though about a third, including the Ulven and the Rickards, still valued total independence from predators. The Arxol had opened exchange programs with every member species, including humanity. There were Vendel, Dirtian, and even Thafki citizens bonding with the Reptilians. Positive recognition in the Sapient Coalition media became commonplace, turning public opinion to at least acknowledge all that they did to defeat the Consortium and their ghost fossil puppets. In a vote that was expected to be contentious, 2/3 of the assemblage had passed the Oxo Collector's official membership bid in 2164. Elias never would have imagined when he first sat in that briefing. He would never have imagined he'd even want it, despite the fact that it wound up being his last wish. Tava did it in the long run, memory man. She did enough to make it possible to have peace with the Oxel, and reached out when it wasn't easy, not to mention sparing us. This all goes back to her. The world had changed a lot since the good old days of 2136, as evidenced by the fact that I was sitting here carrying the memories of a dead Secretary General. I was far from alone in my situation, with the mind-uploading technology being rolled out to include more and more species by the month.
Progress was making society unrecognizable in many ways. But we used our forward-thinking ideas to help improve the lives of sapiens across the galaxy. The predatory viciousness of Zervus saw an Earth which used to protect the ones we cared about, with ferocity, and to take on nature itself if need be. We'd tussle with death itself. I'm going to wait for my daughter to come home. She's the reason I want to be around to see the future, because it's hers, I whispered. Erin patted my leg. I think I'll stick around to meet her. I knew you'd be a great father. I'm just glad that I had a chance to prove it. The two of us, shadows of the old UN officials who took our first steps into the galaxy, sat in comfortable silence on a cozy porch. After all the years that had gone by, it was a wonderful treat to enjoy the peace that we'd fought so hard and long to attain. End of chapter. End of book. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.